Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and you know what that means. I'm welcoming you to America Talks Live, the show where you drive the conversation and we hear from you. And you could call me, at 877-NEWSMAX. That's 877-639-7629. So much has happened in the last week since we last gathered for this show. And we're going to take the next 2 Fridays off for the holidays, but we'll reconvene this show in January. But the president had a press conference today, his year-end presser, as it's known. He did answer some questions. I want you to listen to what he said. He talked about, he was asked about guns, and we know an executive order on background checks is coming. But he was also asked about Gitmo. Now, you know and I know that every common sense solution to fight terror, this administration and the left hijacks and turns it around and saying, well, we can't do that. That's what they want us to do. That's a recruiting tool. And here's another example as he was asked about Gitmo. Watch.
Guantanamo continues to be one of the key magnets for jihadi recruitment. We see how Guantanamo has been used to create this mythology that America is at war with Islam. And for us to close it is part of our counterterrorism strategy. We are essentially at this point detaining a handful of people, and each person is costing several $1 million to detain when there are more efficient ways of doing it. I think we can make a strong argument.
We're detaining a handful of people, and each person. No, they're not people. They're enemy combatants. They're thugs. They're terrorist scum. But we can't say that because that's what ISIS wants us to say. We can't stop Syrian refugees or Muslims from coming into the country because that's what ISIS wants us to do. And we can't bomb ISIS camps and ISIS oil fields or whatever because we might kill civilians. And that's what ISIS wants us to do. And we can't talk about radical Islam because that's what ISIS wants us to do. You understand? You see a pattern here? Every common sense approach to defeating and destroying the threat of terror, they're turning around on its head and saying, well, we can't do that. That's what they want us to do. So what are we going to do? Virtually nothing. The president then went on to lump mass shootings and terror attacks into the same answer to a question on how do you prevent the next terror attack. Watch.
It is very difficult for us to detect lone wolf plots or plots involving a husband and wife in this case because despite the incredible vigilance and professionalism of all our law enforcement, Homeland Security, etc., it's not that different from us trying to detect the next mass shooter. You don't always see it. They're not always communicating publicly, and if you're not catching what they say publicly, then it becomes a challenge.
And of course, this administration has done more to single-handedly stop law enforcement from monitoring social media posts and affiliations with the radical Islamic groups, etc., or so-called mainstream Muslim groups. He single-handedly, because that's what ISIS wants. So you seeing a pattern here? So that was the press conference. There was a lot more to it. Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Steve Malzberg Show, which is every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m., we'll talk more about what the president had to say, so make sure you tune in. But first, let's get to your phone calls. I want to hear what you have to say about that, about the debate, of course, which I don't want to gloss over, which was held on Tuesday night. And lots to talk about. Who do you think won? Who did well? Who didn't do so well? We also have the Democratic debate tomorrow, and there's some controversy. Bernie Sanders is about to sue the DNC. And why did they hold their debates on Saturday night around holiday time, a week from Christmas? So they want people to watch? Bernie Sanders and some think no. They don't want anybody to see Hillary. They're protecting Hillary. 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. We have Bruce first up from Iowa. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Steve.
How are you? Thanks for calling.
Good, thanks. I was going to ask you about Rand Paul.
Yes, sir.
I watched Tuesday night's debate, and I've watched all the debates, and he's my first choice for president, and I just don't understand why he hasn't caught on more. Now, I don't know if the polls are, misconstrued a little bit anyway, against him. But I think he had his best debate on Tuesday night. He was clear and concise and had some good solutions to things, and he had a couple quick sayings to Christie, and I just don't understand what's your feelings on that.
I think Rand Paul is viewed as more of a libertarian than he is a true Republican. Certainly not a conservative Republican. I think at least I view him as weak on national security issues. I view him as weak on the fight against terror. And I agree with you. I think one of the greatest moments of the debate was when Chris Christie, because he's from New Jersey, told Putin, I'll shoot your plane down if you come into the no-fly zone. And brilliantly, Rand Paul said, you want World War III, there's your candidate. And he really made a fool of Christie, who didn't even come back and attack in New Jersey style Paul. He just generically answered the question. He ignored what Paul said, kind of. So I just think he's viewed as weak. And, I think when you call for cutting off foreign aid, even to Israel at some point, which he's taken back, I just think he's a libertarian. And the mainstream of the country certainly isn't libertarian.
Yeah. I think he might be more conservative than people are giving him credit
for.
Well,
we'll see, and we'll see what happens. Look, I thank you for the call. Have a Merry Christmas. Dave, quickly from Kansas. Hello, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Good, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, I was calling. I was in the military, for a number of years, and we call it how we see it, when we're in the military. And I listened to this president talk about, about the, they won't call anything extreme or anything anything that has to do with ISIS, but the generals I watch on TV in these programs need to call it for what it is, as we saw it in the military and the guys that I've talked to. And we see the president, he's just a sympathizer. He's a Muslim sympathizer, and that's how they need to come out and say it.
Well, let me tell you something, Dave, God bless you for your service. Merry Christmas. But Chuck Hagel, the former defense secretary, said today that the White House tried to destroy him. He was ready to bomb Assad after Assad crossed the red line, and Obama told him, stand down. That's who Obama is. More of America Talks Live coming up.